Give me back my kidney. A story by Loveth African Stories. I'm sorry, Anita. I'm calling off the engagement, Anderson said without emotion. I blinked, confused. What are you talking about? This isn't funny. You're no longer my type, he said coldly. You're too fat. Too old. I've moved on. My heart dropped. You've moved on? I whispered. After everything I did for you. I gave you my kidney, Anderson. He looked away. That was your choice, Anita. Don't act like I forced you. I fell to my knees, trembling. Tears rushed into my eyes. Please don't do this, not after all these years, Anderson. Please. Anita, not today, he said sharply. Don't start. Just go. He opened his door wider, like he was chasing out a stranger, not his fiancée. No, please. I stood up, my hands shaking. Tell me this is a prank. Anderson, tell me this is not real. But the man I once knew was gone. In one sudden move, he grabbed my arm, dragged me out like trash, and slammed the door. Click. He locked it. No, no, no. I cried on the ground, staring at the door like it would open again. Anderson, why? Why now? I stood slowly, legs shaking, and began to walk. I didn't know where I was going. Cars passed. People stared. But I saw no one. I heard nothing. I was lost. Broken. Betrayed. Was this really happening? Or was I dreaming a nightmare? And then, something didn't feel right. My name is Anita. I had been in a relationship with Anderson for 3 years. We met at Golden Nest Bank, where I worked as a cashier. Anderson was one of our regular customers. He always came in to deposit small amounts of money into a particular account, Stella Joseph. The name stuck with me, though I didn't think much of it at the time. My job was simple: collect the money, deposit it, and hand him the receipt. But it was hard not to notice him. Anderson was tall, dark, and very handsome. He had a calm, confident way of talking that made every woman glance twice. And strangely, he always came to my counter. At first, I thought it was coincidence until I realized he came just to see me. Every visit, he'd joke, tease, or throw in a little compliment. I tried to act uninterested, but deep down, I found myself waiting for him each day. One day, while handing him his receipt, he smiled and said, "Why don't you give me your number?" I laughed it off. I don't give my number to customers. But Anderson was gentle and persistent. After several tries, I gave in. I was single and honestly, giving out my number didn't feel so wrong. That night, just as I was about to sleep, my phone rang. A strange number. I almost ignored it, but something told me to answer. "Hello, good evening," I said. "Hi, it's me Anderson," the voice replied. "From where?" I asked, confused. He laughed. "The bank. I'm the one who collected your number earlier today." His voice was soft, warm, and familiar. We ended up talking for over an hour. From that night, Anderson never stopped calling morning, afternoon, evening. He'd check on me, make me laugh, and slowly, he found his way into my heart. Then one day, he asked, "Can we go on a date?" I wanted to say no, but something in me whispered yes. And that was the beginning. It was my first date with Anderson. I wore my favorite wine red dress, the one that hugged my curves just right. My hands trembled a little as I checked my phone again to confirm the address. Richford Restaurant. My heart thumped as the taxi pulled up. This wasn't just any date, I had a feeling it would be different. I called him the moment I arrived. And then he came out tall, smooth-skinned, wearing a navy blue shirt that fit like it was tailored for his body alone. That charming smile could melt ice. He walked me in like a man sure of what he wanted. We ordered food and drinks. I barely touched mine. Not because I wasn't hungry, but because, let's be honest, flat stomachs win hearts. At least, that's what I believed. We talked. We laughed. He was easy to speak with, calm, collected, and genuinely attentive. Then, out of nowhere, Anderson looked deep into my eyes and said, "Anita, I want you to be my girlfriend. I've fallen for you." Just like that. No games. No drama. He added all those sweet words women have heard a million times before. But somehow, his voice felt different, like he actually meant them. I smiled and replied, "I'll think about it," trying to play the game right. But inside me, I had already fallen. He was everything I prayed for: handsome, focused, successful in business. What else could a woman ask for? Then he said something that made my smile freeze. "I'm 29. My heart skipped. I was 34. For a moment, I stared at him, blank. Thoughts flooded my head. What would people say? His family? My friends? My younger sisters were already married. Would I become a joke? Anderson noticed my sudden silence. He reached for my hand, looked at me with eyes that seemed to see into my soul and said, "Anita, that you're 34 doesn't matter to me. Age is just a number. What matters is us. It's me and you forever." I didn't know whether to cry or kiss him. That night, I tossed and turned in bed, wrestling with my heart. Could I trust him? Was he real or just another sweet talker? But something in me said, give him a chance. And I did. We began dating officially. Calls, texts, video chats, laughter, kisses. Every moment felt like a movie. I started visiting him often. I'd clean his house, cook his meals, wash his clothes, even dash to the market if he ran out of food. It was like I was already in wife mode. But that's not all. Anderson was an electronics dealer. On weekends, when I wasn't working at the bank, I sat in his shop selling like a trained salesgirl. Me, a professional banker, hustling like a loyal wife in training. You can't judge me. The pressure was real. I was the oldest among my sisters. The whispers were getting louder. The weddings I attended became reminders. I wasn't desperate, just trying not to miss a good man. And Anderson? He kept saying, "It's me and you forever." Our friendship grew stronger by the day. I introduced Anderson to my mother and sister. My father is late, so it was just us at home. Everyone welcomed him warmly and seemed excited that I finally brought a man home. But that evening, after Anderson left, my mother called me into her room. "Anita, my Ada," she said slowly. "That young man you brought today looks okay and presentable. I can see you love him, but I'm not comfortable with this." I blinked, confused. "Why, Mama?" She sighed. "You're 34. Menopause is around the corner, and you're dating a younger guy? That's not our way. You should be with someone older, ready to settle down." I interrupted her, frustrated. "Mama, please. Stay out of this. Anderson loves me. He promised me forever." She sat up. "Anita, Anita, Anita. I've called you 3 times. That boy looks like a player. He doesn't seem serious." That night, I couldn't sleep. My mother's words echoed in my head. I'm the first daughter, and we're only 3 girls. My younger sisters are already married with children. Everyone was waiting for my wedding invitation. But I held on to Anderson's promises. "Anita, calm down," I told myself. "He loves you. He said it's forever." Even when my friends started whispering about our age gap, I didn't care. I stayed with Anderson, ignoring every voice except his. Later, he introduced me to his mother and only sister. He's their only son. But from the look on their faces, I didn't feel welcome, especially his sister. It was clear they already had someone else in mind for him. Still, Anderson assured me it was just the first meeting. "With time, they'll like you," he promised. So I tried. I visited his mother often. I washed her clothes, cleaned the house, even helped his sister, trying to prove I was wife material. Call me desperate, but I was deeply in love. I bought wrappers, sent gifts, smiled through rejection. But no matter what I did, his mother remained cold. I didn't get the warmth I longed for. But I didn't care. I had made up my mind. I would marry Anderson, with or without their approval. Months turned into years. Every birthday, every Valentine's Day, I waited, hoped for the question, "Will you marry me?" But it never came. Anderson had a good house, a thriving business, nothing was holding him back. He was the only son. He should have been married. But I kept getting disappointed. Still, I didn't give up. I prayed, fasted, hoped. My family got tired. It's been years, my mother said. If he's serious, why hasn't he come to pay your dowry? Even my sisters told me to walk away. But I refused. Please, remove your mouths from my matter, I told them. But secretly, I was tired too. More suitors started coming. It was as if Anderson's silence opened the door for them. But I wasn't interested. I was blinded by love. Anderson would always say, "Babe, those men are deceivers. Give me time. It's me and you forever." Then, one day, everything changed. I had been calling him all morning, no response. Later, the line rang, but he didn't pick. I was worried. This wasn't like him. I decided to go check on him. His sister opened the door. I walked in and saw Anderson lying on the bed weak, drenched in sweat, burning with fever. He couldn't even talk. I panicked and called my family doctor, who came quickly and prescribed drugs. At first, Anderson seemed to be recovering. But just a few days later, he woke up to find his face, hands, and stomach swollen. I wasn't aware. His family rushed him to the hospital. That afternoon, my phone rang. A strange number. "Hello," I answered. "Is this Anita?" a sharp voice asked. "Yes." "Who's this?" "Anderson is in the hospital. I'll send you the address. He needs people around him. You claim to love my son, right? It's time to prove it." The voice was commanding, cold and familiar. It was his mother. I tried to ask what happened, but she cut the call before I could finish. Instead of being angry at how harsh she was, I smiled. Foolish me. I thought maybe she was finally accepting me. I didn't even realize I was being called to act like a caregiver, not a fiancé. But love had blinded me. "Thank God," I whispered. "This is my chance." It was a Saturday. I dropped everything I was doing, bathed, dressed, and rushed out. I took a taxi straight to the hospital with the address she texted me, thinking I was walking into love. The moment I arrived at the hospital, I rushed to the receptionist and told her who I was looking for. I also explained my relationship with him. She pointed me to his room. But nothing could prepare me for what I saw. There he was, Anderson. Swollen. Pale. Weak. I froze at the door, tears falling down my face. "What kind of sickness is this?" I whispered in shock. His mother had gone out to buy something, so I quietly walked in and sat beside him. As a woman who truly loved him, the first thing I did was pray. I asked God to take control. I begged him to heal Anderson. I stayed till night before going home to prepare for work. I promised his mother I would return the next day. Anderson looked at me like he didn't want me to leave, but I had no choice. Every day after work, still wearing my office clothes, I would rush back to the hospital to check on him. He was given medication after medication, but nothing worked. Then one day, everything changed. The doctor called us into his office, me and Anderson's sister. "I'm sorry," he began. "But all the tests show that Anderson has kidney failure. He needs an urgent transplant, or he may not survive." I felt my heart stop. Why now? Why him? I asked myself. His mother screamed and collapsed on the floor, crying uncontrollably. It was painful to watch. Her only son, dying slowly before her eyes. Anderson had to start dialysis 3 times a week. His case was already severe. That was when I learned how expensive kidney disease really was. We started selling off some of Anderson's items just to raise money for treatment. I did what I could. I brought out the little savings I had and supported him. Still, it was never enough. Then, one afternoon, the doctor invited me and Anderson's sister to his office again. "Ladies," he said, "Anderson's situation is critical. You need to start thinking of a kidney donor, fast." We stared at him, speechless. His mother was asked if she could donate. She shouted immediately, "No. My kidneys are weak. I'm too old." "It doesn't matter, Mama," the doctor said gently. "It matters to me," she snapped. The doctor tested Anderson's sister. She was a perfect match. But her face changed. Fear took over. She didn't say it, but we knew she wasn't ready to take the risk. Days turned into weeks. Anderson was shrinking before our eyes. Thin. Weak. Silent. It wasn't just the transplant, it was the money. Even if we found a donor, how would we pay for the surgery? We had sold almost everything. And most of his goods were bought on credit. There wasn't much left to sell. I started going from place to place, asking for help. Telling people my boyfriend needed a kidney transplant. Some people praised me, called me a loyal woman. Others laughed behind my back. But I didn't care. I loved Anderson. And I wasn't going to let him die. Anderson's sister had finally agreed to be the donor. Relief, sweet relief, flooded through me, but it was fleeting. That was only one piece of the puzzle. The real enemy was time, and behind it, money. A fortune, millions, was what stood between us and Anderson's survival. The treatments, the surgeries, everything, it was all tied to that one insurmountable number. I had a plan. Social media. Fundraising. I could reach out to strangers, tap into the kindness of people who didn't even know us. I was desperate. But then came Anderson's mother. Her words hit me like a slap in the face. "What will people say?" she hissed. "We are not beggars." I froze. I tried to argue, to explain that we had no choice, but it was like talking to a wall. The one person who should be on my side was turning me away, just like everyone else. And then, my family, my own blood, did the unthinkable. When they found out I'd spent every last cent of my savings, they shut me out. No one was willing to help. No one cared enough to see how far I'd gone for Anderson. My heart pounded, my mind raced. It was like I was drowning, and there was no one to throw me a lifeline. But then it hit me. There was still one thing I could do. The one thing I hadn't even thought of yet, the land. The land I had fought for, worked for 6 long years at the bank. It was all I had left. I made the decision in a heartbeat, without thinking about the consequences. I sold it. I couldn't tell anyone. Not my family, I didn't want to hear their judgment, their warnings. Amanda, my girlfriend, begged me to stop. She said it was too much. She pleaded with me to make Anderson's family take the leap and seek help from social media. But I couldn't listen. I was too far gone. My heart was already with Anderson. I couldn't let him slip away. Not like this. Not when I had the power to save him. I showed Anderson what I had done, the papers, the transfer. His face lit up, his eyes wide with a spark of hope I hadn't seen in days. I was his hero. He looked at me like I was his savior, and for a brief moment, I forgot everything else. I had made the right choice. Or so I thought. After I sold the land, I realized the money still wasn't enough. But I couldn't let Anderson down. I swallowed my pride and applied for a loan, desperate to make up the difference. My manager, seeing my dedication and loyalty as a longtime staff member, came through for me. He trusted me, gave me time to repay the loan, but warned me of the grave consequences if I failed to pay it back. Anderson's mother was overjoyed when I told her. "How did you manage to gather the money?" she asked. "I sold my land and also got a loan at my office with the help of my manager," I said, not even thinking about the consequences of what I had done. "Mama, the money we need for the surgery is finally enough to start the process." "Oh dear, are you serious?" She pulled me into a tight hug. "Thank you, my daughter. This shows you're truly wife material," she whispered, her words lingering in the air. Her embrace felt so warm, so genuine, but I was puzzled. Wife material? I didn't know what she meant by that, but the hug, oh, it felt like something I had longed for. I didn't question it too much. What mattered was that she was starting to accept me. That was enough for now. I felt a sense of accomplishment, like I was finally on the right path. With everything in place, the money and the donor, Anderson's sister, and I met with the doctor to go over the pre-surgery details. He explained the do's and don'ts, what to expect, and everything that needed to be done before the transplant. Everything was ready. All we had to do was wait for the day to arrive. Anderson kept thanking me, his words like a sweet melody in my ears. "It's me and you forever," he'd say. And each time, I felt my heart swell with love for him. Then the day of the surgery arrived. Anderson's sister, who was supposed to be admitted first for the transplant preparation, was nowhere to be found. Her phone was switched off. We tried calling again and again, but there was no answer. Minutes turned into hours, and panic set in. Then came the terrible truth: she had run off. She couldn't bear the thought of sacrificing her kidney for her only brother. She was too afraid, too selfish, to risk it. And just like that, the chance of saving Anderson seemed to slip away. His mother was devastated, crying uncontrollably. I couldn't understand why his sister wouldn't make the sacrifice. The doctor tried to comfort us, but his words felt cold. If anything happens to this man, it's not on us. We've done everything we could, he said, his face expressionless. I was shattered. All hope seemed lost. I couldn't lose Anderson, not after everything we had fought for. And then, without thinking, something inside me snapped. Maybe it was the desperation, the panic, or the love I felt for him. But in that moment, I screamed out, "Doctor, doctor, please." He turned, surprised by the urgency in my voice. "What is it? Can I be a donor?" I asked, my voice shaking but filled with determination. The doctor stared at me, disbelief in his eyes. You want to donate to him?" "Yes," I said, my voice cracking with emotion. "Yes, I'll do it. I want to save him." The doctor hesitated, then nodded slowly. "We'll need to run a series of tests. It's not a decision to be taken lightly." I agreed without hesitation. The tests were grueling, but I endured them. In the end, the doctor gave me the news I had been praying for. I was a perfect match. I told Anderson I was ready to donate my kidney to him, since his sister had run away. He was stunned. His hands trembled as he held mine. "Anita, you want to give me another life? What my own family couldn't do, you're willing to do? I'll forever be indebted to you." I was already emotional, trying to hold back tears. Then he said something I never expected. He held my hand and smiled weakly. "Once I'm back on my feet, I'm taking you straight to the altar. A good woman like you is hard to find." I smiled through my tears. Finally, the words I had waited so long to hear from him. But why now, when he was at his weakest? His mother was overwhelmed with joy. She hugged me tightly. "My daughter-in-law, you are the best." "Daughter-in-law?" I whispered in shock. Everything felt like a dream. But when I told my family about my decision, it turned into a nightmare. My mother cried and begged me not to go through with it. She threatened to disown me. My sisters tried to talk sense into me. Even my closest friends said I was crazy. But my heart was made up. After all, I would soon become his wife, right? His mother had already accepted me, right? I left my family house and moved into Anderson's. His mother treated me like royalty, fed me, pampered me, made me feel like I finally belonged. Then the surgery day came. I held Anderson's hand tightly as we were wheeled into the theater. Everything went black. When I woke up, I heard clapping. The doctors were smiling. "Congratulations, you made it." Anderson's surgery went well. He was recovering fast, and so was I, until one morning, I noticed red spots on my body. My legs were numb. I couldn't walk. The doctors ran several tests. "Your body is reacting, but you'll be fine," they said. Then the head doctor sat beside me and added gently, "But there's something else I need to tell you. During the surgery, there were complications. Your womb was affected. It's only by God's grace if you'll ever conceive naturally again." My world shattered. I froze. I couldn't even cry. Anderson and his mother tried to console me. "We're here for you," they said, acting nice. They gave me medication, follow-up appointments, and a wheelchair. A few weeks later, we were discharged. I followed Anderson home. There was no way I could face my family in this condition. At first, Anderson cared for me. He bathed me, fed me, did everything. But weeks turned into months. His mother started changing. She complained about everything: how I sat in my wheelchair all day, pressing my phone, eating, and sleeping. Her words stung, but I stayed quiet. It's been months since the kidney transplant. Yet, I still feel like I'm the only one stuck in time. My body is healing slowly, much slower than Anderson's. He bounced back quickly, resumed his business like nothing happened. But me, I'm still battling a stubborn infection that comes and goes. Some days, I can barely stand. Other days, I convince myself I'm getting better just so I won't give up hope. But the pain isn't just physical. The surgery took something from me, my womb. I'll never be able to carry a child. And that truth haunts me every single night. What hurts more? My family hasn't called. Not once. I guess they're still angry about the decision I made, giving up a part of me to save Anderson. I thought they'd come around, but silence became their answer. Anderson, my boyfriend, my love, has changed. He says he's stressed, that business is demanding, but deep down, I feel it. The distance. The way he looks at me now is different. Cold. Hollow. Maybe he's ashamed of my body. Or maybe, he can't accept a woman who can't give him children. One evening, I found the courage to confront him. Anderson, why are you pulling away from me? You barely check on me. You act like I'm a burden. He sighed, looked away. Anita, please. I have a lot on my mind. Just be patient. I bit my tongue. I didn't want to push him away even more. But deep inside, I was breaking. He's getting donations now, his business partners support him. Some even trust him enough to give him goods on credit. He's recovering well, comfortably even. So why hasn't he taken me to the altar like he promised? Would asking make me sound desperate? Or has he already changed his mind? Then, there's his mother. Her warmth vanished the moment I stepped out of surgery. Now, her words cut like knives. Don't you think it's time to go back home? Let your mother take care of that infection. The smell. I can't bear it. I wanted to scream. I'm only going through this because of your son. But I swallowed it. She stared back coldly, silent. And in that silence, I knew she never wanted me here. I tried telling Anderson, but he brushed it off. She's old, Anita. Don't take her too seriously. It's just stress. Then one day, I heard the unthinkable. I was walking past her door when I heard her voice, sharp and bitter. Anderson, isn't it time Anita leaves? We've done enough. That smell from the spot on her body, it's too much. Please discharge her. My heart stopped. Mother, she lost her womb trying to save me, he began. Exactly, she snapped. That's why you shouldn't marry her. I want a woman who can give you many children. You are my only son. I froze. I didn't wait to hear his response. I couldn't. I rushed back to my room, tears already pouring. The same woman who refused to donate her kidney for her own son, now wanted to push me out after I sacrificed everything. That night, something inside me broke. Still, I pretended like I hadn't heard a thing, hoping, praying Anderson would prove me wrong. That he'd fight for us. But days turned to weeks, and things only got worse. He stayed out late, always on the phone, whispering to someone I didn't know. I asked him when he'd come to see my people, to finally make things official. Calm down, Anita, he said. I'm still getting myself together. Don't rush me. I watched the man I loved turn into someone I barely recognized, smiling with others, laughing on calls, while I wept quietly in a corner. One day, I decided to leave. Maybe space would make him realize what he was about to lose. But when I left, no one stopped me. Not Anderson. Not his mother. It felt like they had been waiting for that moment. I came back to my house ashamed, in a wheelchair, and battling a terrible infection. When my mother saw me, she froze. Shocked. Her face tightened in pain, but she tried to turn away, still angry with me. Yet, when she looked at me again, her heart melted. She burst into tears. Anita, what happened to you? Why are you like this, my daughter? She cried, rushing to me. Mother. I'm sorry. I wish I had listened to you. I'm sorry. I wept. Talk to me, Anita. What happened? She asked again. I began to speak. Remember I told you I wanted to donate my kidney to Anderson? I did. That's why I look like this. But that's not even the worst part. I broke down in tears again and told her everything, how Anderson changed after the transplant. How I took a loan. How I sold my only land. But what broke my mother the most was when I told her I lost my womb in the process. She fell to the ground, screaming, "Anita, you've killed me. Is this how you repay me for taking care of you?" I cried harder. We held each other, both broken. Then my sisters rushed in, both of them trembling with anger and heartbreak. "We warned you, Anita," one of them said. "That boy is heartless. That kidney will fail again this time, it'll kill him," said the other. At once, my mother stood up, raised her hands to heaven and shouted, "Amen. It will fail unless the God I serve is not alive." They tried to console me. I knew they were angry, but they couldn't turn their backs after seeing my condition. My mother invited a powerful herbalist to begin treating my infection and damaged leg. Slowly, I started healing. But through it all, Anderson never called. Not even a text. I decided I would visit him. Maybe he was just upset that I left. I lied to my mother, telling her I was going to see my manager about resuming work. I dressed up and took a taxi to Anderson's house. My heart was pounding. I knocked. He opened the door. "Anderson, it's me," I said softly. He stared blankly. "Anita, what are you doing here?" "What do you mean?" "I came to see you, to talk. Please leave. You're not welcome here." "Stop this, Anderson. What's going on?" "I'm calling off the engagement," he said coldly. "I'm no longer interested." My mouth went dry. "What? Anderson? After everything? I gave you my kidney. I took a loan. Sold my only land. Stayed with you in the hospital. What else do you want from me?" He scoffed. "That's your business, Anita. I never begged you. You should have said no like my mother or my sister. No one forced you." Then he hit me with the most heartbreaking words I'd ever heard. "You're old, useless, and you can't even have a child. What do I need you for?" I collapsed to my knees. "Anderson, please, stop. Leave my house, Anita. Don't let my woman meet you here." Still kneeling, I begged. But Anderson walked past me, and slammed the door in my face. I stood there in shock. Then I cried. Alone. I dragged myself back home and told my mother everything. She was furious. "You still went back there, Anita? After all that happened?" I was no longer myself. Days passed. I kept hoping to hear from Anderson. Nothing. Then the truth hit me. I had been used. Betrayed. Tricked. Every morning, I woke up cursing him. "You will never know peace, Anderson. You will die a shameful death." Sometimes, I wanted revenge so badly, I felt like ending him. I went to the police. They laughed at me. "You donated willingly. You don't have a case," they said. A lawyer friend confirmed it. "This will be hard to win. You'll just waste your money," he said. But I couldn't let it go. I called Anderson and demanded he give me back my kidney. He laughed. "You're a fool," he said, and blocked me everywhere. It was hard. But with my family's help, I moved on. Then, a miracle happened. My manager called and asked me to resume work. After hearing my story, he even offered to clear my loan. I became focused, determined to rebuild my life. My manager, Mr. Godwin, was always encouraging. "Let God fight your battles. Just move forward," he'd say. The Bible became my best friend. And as time passed, Mr. Godwin and I grew closer. One day, he confessed, "Anita, I love you. I'm not here to play games. Let me love you." I refused at first, too scared, too wounded. But after much persuasion, I gave him a chance. In less than 6 months, he proposed. He paid my bride price, and we got married. I was afraid. What kind of marriage would this be without children? But God is not a man. What he cannot do does not exist. 6 months into our marriage, I got pregnant. My husband was overjoyed. He treated me like royalty. His family welcomed me with open arms. Then I heard about Anderson. He had married his ex, Stella Joseph, the same woman he used to send money to from my bank. But 3 months into their marriage, karma came knocking. Anderson fell gravely ill. Kidney and liver failure. He was on the transplant list for months. No one agreed to donate. Not even his wife. Not even his mother. He died waiting. They said he wanted to see me before he passed to ask for forgiveness. But I had already forgiven him. Because God had given me double for all my trouble. I later gave birth to twin boys. Tell me, is God not wonderful? Whatever is yours won't stress you. You don't need to force it. You don't need to bleed for it. God's time is the best.